I've reached the end of the Organon, though before I go forward it would be best to look back and observe the landmarks of the ground covered thus far. First, all known things are derived from observations external to the self, existing first as complex forms, and then filtered through various layers of abstraction which model them through their most salient aspects. Complex forms are regarded as either physical or fictional. When these forms are mixed with the heuristic filters underlying the architecture of the brain, they create a simplified model called reality, which is a blend of facts and fictions. I can create a system of further abstractions through memory and symbols, which I call language, and I can use language to communicate with myself and with others, provided certain points of reference outside of language are also communicable with them. Second, I can consider a number of observations as basic to all people, due to the fact that they are general and present in all material. I consider these axiomatic statements: that a thing is itself, that nothing can be itself while simultaneously being its opposite, that there are many things existent sidelong one another, and that there is no third state outside of existence and non-existence. Third, abstractions are simple enough to model states from an open system in a smaller, selective, closed system, and to have the relationship between those states imply a fixed number of outcomes based on how their existence is interpreted. When a system observes the axioms, it is regarded as consistent, which is a necessary quality of physical existence. Further, it can be said that some of these models contain equal or less information to what is contained in other models. When such models occur in language, they are called arguments, and in arguments, one or more statements are considered as premises containing equal or less information to a conclusion. When these models occur in reality, they are called causation, and one or more states are considered as causes containing equal or less information to an effect. When information is contained in an effect or conclusion, but is not contained in a corresponding cause or premise, it is regarded as a counterexample which demonstrates the model system is not a closed system. When the system is open, it is impossible to determine whether an interpretation arose from physicality or from fiction. Fourth, several relations can be paraphrased from physicality based upon axiomatic statements. The similarity between the relations paraphrased in these model systems allows the underlying structure of them to be determined as open or closed, valid or invalid, based on the relation structure rather than any specific content drawn from observations. Fifth, in order to correctly insert informational content into these model systems, the abstract terms themselves have to be clearly defined in a way that corresponds to real entities. Dialectic attempts to guide this process through a network of checks and categorizations that specify and generalize terms. Sixth, models are not physical entities external to the mind, even though they are based on things external to it. As such, our models are only ever approximately correct, and they require periodic updating through observation. Awareness of one's modeling errors is fundamental to gaining a more accurate understanding of physical entities as existence carries forward. That's the Organon, if one were to squash it into a nutshell. According to my personal criterion of books, it isn't exactly what I would call a page-turner. While its educative value is revelatory, its rhetoric is flat, its style hieroglyphic in its obscurity, its technique is purely mechanical, though analysis does yield immense riches. I started here with a very particular purpose, because the Organon gives some idea of how to approach information and determine its value. This is at the heart of critical analysis. Without a fixed set of rules guiding my inquiry, I would be forced to judge based on emotions and personal methods, which would be of little use to you, outsider, or even to whatever vastly reimagined mind guides my body a decade from now. There will be times on this channel where I delve into subjective views, but I don't want that to be the standard to herald all that is to come. I want as many of these videos as I can make to proceed in the same manner as a valid argument, so that they either allow recourse to demonstrative evidence, or allow a user to check the premises laid down in a prior video. I would have you see the links down below, connecting all of this even as the search continues to branch up above. I will fail from time to time, but I will do my best and correct my errors whenever I can. In the next section, I will explain why literature holds similarities to argumentation, and show how to derive a set of literary criteria from propositional rules. Then I will be applying this framework to Moby Dick, and in the process I will elaborate on the pattern of scientific falsification described within that text.